Why do people want to be on the internet? One of the main reasons is simple freedom. The internet is a rare example of a true modern functional anarchy. There's no internet Inc. There are no official censors, no bosses, no board of directors, no stockholders. The internet's anarchy may seem strange or even unnatural, but it makes a certain deep and basic sense. It's an institution that resists institutionalization. The internet belongs to everybody and nobody. Still, its various interest groups all have a claim. Business people want the internet put on sounder financial footing. Government people want the internet more fully regulated. Academics want it dedicated exclusively to scholarly research. Military people want it spy-proof and secure, and so on and so on. All these sources of conflict remain in a stumbling balance today, and the internet so far remains in a thrivingly anarchical condition. Today, even privately owned desktop computers can become internet nodes. You can carry one under your arm. Soon, perhaps on your wrist.
This is an excerpt from the February 1993 edition of the fantasy and science fiction magazine, 1993. I couldn't get the name of the author, but this is such a cool glimpse into what the overall view of the internet was, pre-internet really. Back in the infancy of the internet, people didn't even really know what it was yet.
What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate with, I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
It was just this Pandora's box of possibility and promise. It was this promise of global peace through deregulation. It was this way to access the library of Alexandria with the click of a button. There were telegrams, then there were telephones, and now this. People could see that it was the dawn of a new technological era. This column from 1993 somehow so poignantly articulated the exact thing that all of us are so excited about the internet for. Even 30 years ago, they even nailed it now. In 1994, 1 year after this column, the world was introduced to what was the breakout internet product, Netscape Navigator. This was before even Internet Explorer was on every Windows PC. This was the clear pivot point in the internet's history, from no internet to full internet integration. This was the first place that the average person saw the internet for the first time in the way that we see it now. It wasn't like that before. The early internet was like this, a black screen with green text connecting one university or company to another. It was basically one level up from typing dots and dashes in a telegram. Netscape Navigator fully realized the potential of the internet and spread it to the masses.
What seemed like an infinite web of connected computers that could share files and share compute and ideas completely unrestricted. It was the new frontier. It was the start of something big. And there was these handful of companies and people that really adopted it and thought it was going to take off in 2-3 years. And maybe they were wrong about the timeline, and maybe that bubble, that .com bubble popped, but really they were bang on. The internet completely changed the world. Even 30 years ago, we didn't pay our credit card bill, we didn't talk to our friends and family, we didn't navigate from point A to point B, we didn't watch TV or listen to music all on the internet. None of that was possible. And in that short amount of time, everything we do is on the internet. We even find our future spouses on the internet now.
And soon enough, the internet's potential saw its end. To me, it feels like the internet has reached this sort of final form or mature point in the past 5 or 6 years. The kind of goal and initial promise of digital freedom didn't really pan out for all of us. The internet is now in the hands of maybe like 10 separate companies. Google, Amazon, X, Meta, Apple, Spotify, Reddit, TikTok, and now this newcomer, ChatGPT. If you really think about it, what do you do on the internet? How do you spend your time on the internet? If I'm being honest, I watch a shit ton of YouTube videos. I listen to music on Spotify and maybe watch Netflix or whatever. I navigate from point A to point B with Google Maps. I check my calendar and my emails. I pay my credit card and phone bill, and I Google things in the immediate moment I want an answer. And I just click the very first page, and that's it. That probably accounts for about 95% or more of my internet traffic. And is that okay? Is that how I want to spend the rest of my life? There's a study that concludes that the average person spends about 6 or more hours on their phone every day. So let's just say that 5 of those hours is spent on the internet, which I think is an underestimation, but let's just say 5 hours. If I live an average life expectancy and I spend 5 hours a day on these 5 or 6, 7 websites, that's going to be like almost another 100,000 hours on the internet. That's like 11 years of my life. 11 years. 11 years that I could spend with the people that I love, or learning something, or doing something I'm passionate about. Instead, I'm just mindlessly swiping. Is that what I want? Is that what we want? The harsh reality, too, is how much of that shit that you consume is something that you even retain and remember. Like 1% maybe? And I'm guilty of this too. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just pointing out what I see. The uncomfortable part is realizing how much time I've willingly traded away for things that I don't even remember. I don't know about you, but I feel a sort of emptiness living life the way I do. It's like I'm living completely opposite and opposed to my own values. I've realized that I've become a part of this problem too. There isn't a time in my day that I don't feel like I should be throwing on a podcast just to be filling that silent void, and just using the excuse that it's for self-improvement or self-help. Like I'm listening to Diary of a CEO talk to an insulin expert or a sleep expert and feeling like I'm getting something done. But really what I'm doing is just distracting myself from real life. There have been mornings that I'm driving to work and I realize that I don't have my headphones with me. And the idea of just listening to silence all day and just working is too much. And I need to go home and get my headphones, even if it makes me a couple minutes late for work. It's really that pathetic. I don't like how much of my time gets sucked into the vortex of social media. I don't want to just consume for consumption's sake. I don't like how much of my thoughts are being shaped by these companies whose job it is to keep me scrolling. And so I started to try and pay attention to the stuck points on the internet for me. And I've distilled it down into 3 things.
I'm sure that there is a healthy and productive way for society to be using AI chatbots for our advantage, but right now, I don't think that the pros are outweighing the cons in supporting these global financial superpowers that are these AI chatbot companies. But maybe that's for another video. The point is, I noticed that when I try to use AI for things that I could be doing myself, I don't feel any sort of attachment to the outcome. And not only do I not feel connected to the outcome, but I don't even feel like I've learned anything. Like I've completely negated the whole thinking part of thinking. There's this MIT study last year in 2025 that showed that if you use ChatGPT to write essays for you, not only does it homogenize our language, but it actually makes you feel no connection to the work itself. The participants that used ChatGPT were shown they had far less brain activity going on when they're writing the essays rather than the brain-only participants. And not only that, they weren't even able to pull quotes from their own work. Because really, to all of us, something that's written by a chatbot doesn't belong to us. And that makes a sort of intuitive sense. And sure, it might take a little bit longer to do, and honestly, maybe it'll even be a little bit worse, especially at the beginning. But I think the longer that we rely on these chatbots to do the thinking for us, the more that we're going to rely on them in the future. It's so hard for me to remember a time before the internet because I was born in that sweet spot of the late 90s, where it was still this emerging technology, but more or less, the internet has been a part of my life my entire life. The point is, there's even times that I feel like I don't have opinions that are my own opinions. Like I've been fed all this information that I'm supposed to think, and I've never given myself the time to really critically think about what I think about, just me. It feels like the clear way forward is to use AI as a tool to aid thinking, not as an agent for doing. Because if we let AI act as our brain for too long, I suspect that AI will just become our brain. And maybe I'm just projecting here, but what I've noticed in my life is the more I rely on that technology, the more I don't feel like I'm in control of what I'm thinking. Secondly, we all know it's bad for our brains, short form content. And I don't think that this is a moderation problem. This is the apex of the tech company's research and development. This is the mass optimization of attention. This is the biohacking of our primitive brains. For me, the only thing that has really helped control my stupid ape brain is to delete these apps altogether. I've realized I needed to take conscious control over my consumption habits. And I don't want to sound like some old man, yelling at you through the screen, "You damn kids and your TikTok." I think we can all agree it's a problem. But knowing it's a problem is just half the battle. I knew I needed to change my behavior. Believe me, I totally understand this FOMO feeling of not being in the know and not knowing the current memes or not being connected to your own generation. But I promise that if you just delete these apps for 30 days, you'll see that life goes on pretty much the same as it used to. Do you remember a time before TikTok, like 2015, 2016? Life's just gonna feel like that. Pretty much the exact same as it does right now. And I think if we just sit on it for 30 days, we can slowly realize that being fed a constant feed of things you're not choosing to watch, you're not voting to watch, is not healthy for our brains. Feeling like we can always just tune into the next channel whenever we want to. This new way of consuming media is promoting distraction like never before. And I know if I had to choose between constant distraction or being present in my life, I know what I would want to choose. And I know I don't get it right every single time, but I want to point myself in the right direction. And I think that getting rid of these apps is the first step to that. I've deleted TikTok and Instagram off of my phone. And hell, I've even removed shorts from being able to be played on my YouTube. Here, check it out.
You've told me.
It just completely shuts down the app and makes me reopen it and consider what I'm actually doing. And just those few changes alone, just deleting those couple of apps and just removing shorts from my YouTube, it's completely changed the way that I consume content. It's made me feel so much more present in my life and so much more intentional. I think with the rise of free time in the modern age, we're never gonna really stop consuming TV or consuming content, but I think we can start being a bit more intentional about what content we do consume. And I think that this is a great first step.
I'm sure we've all watched 1,000 YouTube videos at this point about what the big goal of social media is, and it's attention. Their main goal is to keep us on these apps as long as possible, and they're just going to keep feeding us what they think is going to keep us there the longest so they can feed us advertising. We know that that's the truth. And because of that, I've tried to find ways that I can eliminate this infinite algorithmic scroll from my life. I found that on YouTube, if you turn off your history, you will not have a home screen anymore. You do not get algorithmic recommendations anymore. And the only thing that you get fed is what you voted to watch, what you've subscribed to. And it honestly took me quite a while to dial in. YouTube has been my vice for as long as it's been around. I've probably been watching YouTube videos religiously since like 2008. And over those 18 years of watching content, that is insane, 18 years. I've accumulated like 2,200 different channels I was subscribed to. And so I just had to spend an hour one day and just really evaluate, does this person actually, give me any sort of value? Even if it's just entertainment value. Do I care about this person? No? Unsubscribe. That's okay. So now, all I get to do is open YouTube, check my subscriptions, and see if someone's posted a video that day. I'm down to like 150, 200 people that I subscribe to, and it makes me feel like I have so much more agency over what I'm watching. All you've given YouTube the voice to tell you is, here is a list of all the videos that people have made that you have made the decision to watch. And it makes you feel like you have so much more choice over what you're watching. Trying to be mindful about all these algorithmic recommendations, it's like the hardest vice to curb, honestly. But when I found that I've been doing a good job in eliminating those from my life, the lighter I feel. None of these changes happened overnight for me, and I'm still figuring out things as they go. I still watch YouTube way too much. I stay up way too late every single night watching YouTube videos. I use ChatGPT to polish this exact script that I'm reading right over here. I've realized that even if you turn off your history on YouTube, every single time you watch a video, it recommends you videos on the video you're watching at that very moment. It's so hard to turn off this primitive side of your brain because it just wants to find the easiest way to do something, or it wants to just like get locked in this dopamine cycle. But I think these few steps are a good step forward in terms of digital mindfulness. And that's it. This video isn't about quitting the internet or moving to a cabin in the woods. While that does sound kind of nice. Really, it's just about practicing mindfulness in your consumption. Because the internet didn't always feel like this. It used to feel like information freedom, like access to anything you wanted. It felt like something that you chose to delve into and venture into, not something that grabbed you and pulled you in. When you pick your phone up out of habit and just start scrolling to find something to occupy your brain, just think to yourself, do I really need to be on my phone right now?
Or maybe you prefer a sharper question. Do I want to get brainwashed by a $1 trillion addictive panic machine right now? Do I? Because it's not just for the time that you have it, you know? Those thoughts stay with you.
Chill out on ChatGPT. Turn off your algorithms wherever you can. Turn a blind eye to the shorts. And not because the internet is evil, but because your attention is finite. And your life is just the accumulation of where that attention goes. Do you want 11 years of scrolling? Or do you want 11 years of learning and experiencing and connecting? And I'm starting to see what I want, even though I don't get it right every time either. The internet doesn't need to be your enemy, but it also doesn't need to be your author.